terrific. I'm really happy to be back, and I know we are in a new year now, and we thank God that we're here. I want to thank my guests that are here today. They're going to introduce themselves, and I'm going to thank the people that are watching as well for actually taking the time to watch us. So now I've got some beautiful young ladies here, and they're going to introduce who they are. So Jessica, please, can you introduce and tell us what you do and who you are?
Hi, I'm Jessica. Right now I'm in first year of university studying mental health nursing. And yeah, I'm 19. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm 19. Right now I'm in my last year of college studying health and social care.
Okay. What do you intend to do when you finish, basically?
I tend to go into uni, probably Birmingham, and study either clinical psychology or youth justice.
Okay. Before we go further, we're going to have an advert and then we'll come back to the show. Thank you.
At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about. How it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them. At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about. How it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Loves you. That is a red
lie.
That is a red flag because nobody can love you more than your parents.
He's wearing it, alright, that means, oh yeah, wait, he does that.
Yeah.
You're judging me before you know me, and that's unfair on the youth.
We should focus on happiness at the end of the day. You should do what makes you happy rather than what will make someone else happy.
I'm back again. Well, I didn't go anywhere. I'm still sitting here waiting though. But today's show is going to be very controversial. It's going to be about being a Christian and your social life. But before we get into that, okay, I'm going to ask you certain stuff. When you were growing up, okay, when you were growing up in a community, how did you, when you went to church, was it because your parents took you to church, or was it because you chose it? Jessica, go for it first.
It was mainly because of my mum. Because I think my mum's been in King's Temple from Ghana.
Okay.
So when it came to London, I was basically following her. And yeah, like, because Bella, my cousin, we were always there, and it's like we had friendships in church as well. So I was excited to go to church, see my friends, and also participate in church as well. And yeah, it was mainly because of my mum. But it came to a certain stage where it's like, okay, I know we're going to church so we can practice for this dance, or so we can do this. So like at one point, like if my mum didn't want to, couldn't go, or because she had to go because of work, I would want to go. But that was around like probably 10.
Okay, so it was more for the social aspect, not the spiritual aspect. Okay, Rachel, what made you, did you go to church because of your parents? Was it something?
I mainly went because of my parents.
Okay.
We went to the same church at first around my area, and then I transferred to King Temple. Brother Moses brought us, me and my sisters.
Okay.
And we started going there more often, and then I started making friendship. That's where I met Jessica, I met Bella, I met a lot of people there, and I started to want to go because of the friendships that I built. And then so at the start, I went for my parents.
What were your social aspect? Okay. Sometimes when you look at Christianity and you look at where are you from?
Countrywide.
Your countrywide, like ethnicity.
I'm from Jamaica.
You're from Jamaica.
Ghana.
You're from Ghana. Okay. When you look at like the black community, do you feel that you guys are judged unfairly? Because it's like, if you're a Christian, it's taught you not to sort of like party and not to go out. And why are you laughing? It's like, no, do you feel there's hypocrisy in the Christian avenue? Because the reason why I say that is, with me, I do find I can hear some Christians screaming in my head, what is she telling my kids? But do you guys find, Rachel?
Yeah, they look at us differently. What we do, what we wear. They want us to have this two life outside of church and an inside of church. And they expect us to do things differently. But then we have to fight the battles of our social lives.
Yes.
When we go to school, you know, having friends that aren't really Christians, who don't follow the same thing we follow.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard. And then they base us on the way we look, what we say in church. So it's like they want us to have this different kind of lifestyle in church.
Don't you find it hypocritical though?
Yeah.
Okay, Jessica, yes.
I feel like there's a lot of people just generally like they judge other people, but then their kids are kind of doing the same. And it's like, me, I don't have business to come and tell you what your kid's doing, but it's like, just kind of focus on yourself more like than, you know, judging other people's children. Because like, for example, me, Bella, Rachel,
yes,
there was many times on a Saturday night, we would go out, party, next day we'd be in church, they would see it on Snapchat, then they'll be like, oh, you guys are in church? I'm like, yeah.
Who would ask you that?
Like the youth leaders and stuff.
Oh, okay, the youth leaders, yes.
The facilitators, they'll ask us, oh, you're in church today? We're like, yeah. You know, we still woke up this morning and made it to church. Like, it's no different. We shouldn't not go to church because we're tired and we went to a party. Like,
yes.
It's like, yeah, this whole two separate lives thing, it's all facade. It's just like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they think that, oh, if you're doing this, you can't possibly do this. When we are trying. So
yes.
Like we can't forget one part of our lives and just stick to one thing. It doesn't work like that. We have to build it slowly. In order for us to do one main thing with our life, it just doesn't work.
Do you think that judgment is predicated on how certain parents are hypocritical? When I keep using the hypocritical, the reason why I keep using that word is there are certain parents that they know what their kids do, but they pretend as if they don't. And they're saying kids that they hide things from their parents. Do you feel that you guys are judged unfairly because you guys are much more upfront and you don't want to pretend? Because when you say you go out, at least when you go out, you're just going there to have fun. You're not going there to do anything untoward. Yeah. Do you understand? But do you feel that these parents that they're sitting there thinking, oh, these girls are partying, they're doing this, their kids are not worse than you guys are?
They're way worse.
They're way worse.
And they're way worse because they don't tell their parents what they're doing, because they don't feel comfortable telling their parents. So because they know their parents will come tell them off, they'll do it behind their parents' back, and then they'd look at us and be like, oh, my child will never do that. But the reason your child doesn't want to do it is because they're scared of how you're going to react. With our parents, we tell our parents where we're going. I mean, there was a couple times, you know, we lied, oh yeah, I'm staying at Rachel's house. A couple times, but like we always still told them what we were going to do.
Why did you feel you had to lie?
The way they will speak to us saying, you know, you're not supposed to be doing this. They'll be like, oh, you know what you're going there to do, but you will still do it. Making us feel like some type of way, but it's like...
What did they think you guys were going there to do?
The most, like, they're in their heads.
The boys' life, yeah, the drinks, they think we're part of this smoking, drinking, like, but we were young and we were just like wanted to like literally be with people and live.
Like to have like socialize, you wanted to just listen to music.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that you go there to go and drink.
No.
How do you feel that parents can have that confidence that when you say you're not going to do something, because that's what I'm saying now, in a Christian avenue, they tend to forget that you guys are brilliant enough and intelligent enough to know the difference, because I know there's some kids that they would go there to go and drink. Those are the ones that they hide it from their parents. How do you think the parents can sort of like, because when you tell your parents, it's because you built trust. How do you think these parents can look at their kids and sort of like have that confidence if my child came to me? Because these parents are judging you guys. I'm talking about the parents that the kids are doing untoward stuff. They're judging you guys. How do you feel a parent, like when somebody goes to your parent, do you think your parent has to have these characteristics of being a strong person?
I think it starts from young, like, because for me, for example, I wasn't always with my mum, I was sometimes with my dad. Okay. And it's like, I didn't get to build that relationship with my mum and talk about stuff like the boys' life, the sex life, all of that stuff. So it's like, she will look at me and be like, okay, I haven't had this conversation with you, so you might go wayward because you haven't given you that advice on it. So when it came to a point where I actually spoke with her myself and said, you know, like, I'm not doing this, you know. I know people who are doing it, but I'm not following that crowd. Like, I've got advice from other people and it's not the way to go. Like, that's when she started to realise, oh, she's mature, she knows how to do things by herself. And then
you built that trust.
Yeah, we built that trust. So
what about you?
It took a bit of time, but yeah.
Rachel?
For me, because I have older sisters,
yes,
my mum went through the same thing she went through with me. So over time, like Jessica, I didn't have that relationship with my mum. It's still not there as I would like it, but we didn't have that relationship. But I had that relationship with my sisters.
Okay.
So I could count on them to like help me or give me advice or like just help me with anything I needed to do. So when it came to like going out or like doing what I want, I would normally go to my sisters first and say, what should I do? I want to go out. There's for a time period I used to live with my sister for a little while. Okay. Because me and my mum just didn't really see eye to eye. But then overall, we started to talk more often. I told her like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is something I like. She would sometimes understand it or see from my perspective, or sometimes I still have to go to my sisters and speak to them about it.
Do you think as young girls, having that trust and bond with your mothers is very, very essential and crucial?
Yes, because I feel like there's a lot of lady things we need to talk about that you can't really learn from anywhere else but your mother. Like stuff like sanitary things and all of that stuff. Like, it's more comfortable to come from your mother as well. Like, you wouldn't want to talk to anyone else about
your
it.
dad. You don't want to talk to your dad. Yeah.
So with those, I feel like it's really important because otherwise there's just certain things you won't know. Like, I know a couple of girls, their parents passed away, like their mother passed away early. Okay. When it came to stuff like their period, they didn't know. So like, it was us at school giving her advice, and it's like, we felt like she missed that part in her life. And it's like, you know, it's a bit hard for your friends to be telling you.
Rachel?
Yeah, it's important to have that relationship with your mum. I feel like more time when I was at my sister's, it was all nice having a bond with my sisters, but I'd always want the comfort of my mother to be there, to talk to me and say like, things are going to be okay.
Protect you.
Yeah, in that sense. Like, talk to me about boys, even though like I'm not doing it and you don't want me to do it, but it would still be nice for you to talk to me about it and just to let me know what I shouldn't and should do. Instead, I would have to like grow up and like hear it from my friends, people I shouldn't really be hearing it from, teachers, my sisters. It's just like...
And you know, when you said that, do you know that even though I was with my mum, I think in our culture, they had, like in a black culture, it's kind of like, they thought if they spoke to you about it, you were going to do it. So they had this approach of ignorance is bliss, whereby even sometimes when you had your period, all they did was they'll give you a pad and then you keep it moving. It's like they never said, oh, you get pregnant, you know, those kinds of stuff, you see. And sometimes, I think sometimes parents or mothers don't know the essence of how you guys need. The thing is, there are lots of things my mom said that probably I did. Do you understand? That I did. But now I look back and I say, wow, I should have listened to my mom. But at least I had that, you see. And sometimes when you're looking at your mother, how do you feel you can actually mend because the thing is, some of the parents forget that they have to come to you. Is it they expect you to come to them? How do you feel that can be achieved? No, it's kind of like you have to say, because the thing is, you can only express how you feel. You can't think for your parent. Rachel, do you want to go on there? Because I think Jessica's still thinking.
Yeah. For me, anyways, a mother's support is like important.
Yes. It's
important. Sometimes I want to speak to her about stuff, and it's just like, oh, why do you need to speak about that? You shouldn't even know about that. Like, you shouldn't be doing that anyways. But my thing is that I'm growing up. It's like the things that you don't want me to do, but you don't talk to me about it. It makes, not me personally, but a person in my age would be like, oh, because you're not speaking to me about it, I want to do it even more.
That's it.
So it's like, if you're not supporting
it makes you curious.
Yeah, it makes a teenager curious if you're not speaking about it. So it's like, I feel like mothers or parents need to speak up more. And then parents will wonder why, oh, you're doing stuff behind my back. But you didn't speak to me. You didn't talk to me about stuff. You just basically let me do what I want. And then when I'm doing what I want, you're now cussing me or you're shouting at me for doing what you didn't speak to me about. It just didn't make sense.
I think a lot of parents forget that as you grow up, your curiosity grows a
Yes.
lot. Like as babies, we'd look at stuff like a pen
Yes.
and wonder, and like at times, yeah, you know, the pen will get slapped out your hand. You're not meant to be doing that.
Or an iron, a hot
Exactly.
iron,
So
yeah.
I think they wait for us to be in that position
Yeah.
for us to for them to tell us what to do, and it's like
It's too
I want
late.
to avoid the negative bits of it. So can you tell me what can I do? You know, the pros and cons of doing that. But then it's just it's too late sometimes, and it's just like
I think when you said, I think the parents now forget that everything is in social media.
Yeah.
You guys are growing up faster than we did, because it's like if you want to even cook, you go to YouTube. Anything that you want to do, you just click onto YouTube and it's there. And I think parents now are letting social media prepare you for life, which is unrealistic. So they try and put you in a position whereby they're trying to tell you, oh, you can't do this. By the time, as you say, by the time you're 10 years old, you're 12 years old and you've got your phone, you go to secondary school. There are loads of things. Because I remember there was one time I was taking my son to the zoo with his school friends. And I think they were in year 6. And I remember I was sitting there with these little kids. And I remember one girl said, oh, with me, when I get pregnant. And I'm thinking, huh?
what?
Yeah. No, this kid was a Caribbean kid, and then she goes, oh, if I get pregnant, my mom is not going to have a big deal with me. My mom doesn't, you know, that stuff. And I'm thinking, year 6. You haven't even got to secondary school yet. And as surprised as I was, what you just said resonated with me. That you guys learn stuff. Do you understand me? So with me, I ended up talking to my son about it. That if you had a child and you brought the kid to the home, I would throw you out. No, because I didn't sort of like see it as though he was in year 6, which is about 10 years old. Do you understand me? You see, so I do get what you guys are saying, and I think parents have to take that into consideration. You see, because I know sometimes certain parents are so, if I talk to you, you guys are not going to hear me. But you guys actually want the guidance. You see, and how do you think that guidance, in what form would you want it to be? Is it like going out to have dinner? You know, how do you want the setting to be? Because sometimes parents don't know even how to approach their children.
I feel like just, you know, like I think during quarantine as well,
Yes.
I think that's when my mum started like, oh, Jessica, let's go for a walk, and then we'd actually talk about things like.
So that means COVID actually brought you closer with your mom.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So stuff like that, like going for a walk, or I mean, even though sometimes I don't always want to go shopping with her, going shopping with her, stuff like that, like all them stuff. Like at one point when I was younger, my mum used to take off annual leave.
Yes.
And we used to go cinema and stuff, but
Okay.
it was just to show that she was still there for me, even though she was working hard.
Okay.
But it wasn't to, you know,
Like to bond.
Yeah, to bond and make that conversation. It was just to remind her I'm still here for you. But
Yeah.
it's like it wasn't.
You wanted more.
I wanted to talk. I wanted
Yes.
to, you know, actually, you know,
Connect.
What problems are you having at school? Do you need
Yeah.
help? All that stuff. And I wasn't getting it. And it's just like, okay, I know.
Did you communicate that to her?
At the time, I didn't really know that's what I wanted. But obviously, now that I look back, I've told her, like, you know, all them times we could have spoken about stuff. There's certain things like I could have avoided, like friendship problems, all of that stuff in secondary school. All those problems could have been avoided. I feel like if she spoke to me earlier, and it's like, but you know, we've built on it now. So
Okay, Rachel, you. What do you know? Sometimes, yeah, go on.
For me, it's kind of different. Me and my mum still haven't gotten that bond yet where I can sit with her and say, this is what's going on in my life, or I'm having this boy drama, or I'm having this friendship drama. I haven't really gotten that with my mum, which is sad, but we can still speak on some level. But I'm happy that I have older sisters, because my older sisters are like my best friends. So especially the one that lives with me, it's like she's my best friend. I speak to her about everything. So it's like if I have a problem with like girls, like girl drama, she'll be like, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and like this is what you shouldn't do. Or if I have a boy problem, she'll help me. But there's some times where mum will say, we'll have our little jokes when we're watching a movie sometimes, and she'll be like, you know, I hope you guys know what you're doing. She'll give us that 1-2 advice saying, oh, you know, I'm always here for you guys. She'll always say it, like reassure us, but it's like I haven't gotten to that point where I can sit her down and say, this is what's going on. Yeah.
Do you think that it's more to do with how she doesn't know how to approach you? Because, you know, sometimes, I always say that sometimes what you think, with me, mine was I didn't have that connection with my dad, but I had that with my mom. So when I had my boys, we talk about everything, but not everything. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is probably your mom doesn't know how to communicate with you to get, because you know sometimes you think she doesn't want to, but sometimes because she doesn't know how would she be able to do that?
No, which I do understand, because like everyone can say I'm stuck in my room 24/7. So I do make it difficult for her to come and speak to me, because when she does want to speak to me, it's like, you're really invading my personal space.
Leave me alone.
So I do make it difficult for her, but I feel like what she should have done, like before, when me and her didn't see eye to eye, I would prefer her to say like, Rachel, come and sit down, let's speak. Like, what's your problem? Instead of doing this all, or shouting, or getting all my sisters involved. Sometimes I didn't want to speak to my sisters, I wanted to speak to her, but then she got them involved. So it's like, I want you to come to me personally and say, look, do this. And she likes walking, so do I like walking.
Yes.
So walks, you could have gone on walks, you could have taken me shopping, you could have done something.
That's the thing, you know, sometimes, because I know certain parents that they say, I don't know how to communicate with my child. You see, with me, I couldn't communicate with my dad, because me and him were literally fist blow kind of thing. But my mom was somebody that, regardless. So, you know, when you said what you said, and say, I think it's, don't know, always say the approach. Because the person doesn't know how to get in. Because the door can be open and still closed. Do you understand? And when I say that, it's kind of like the door is open, but you know, you still can't get in. And I think it's more to do with her not knowing what will set you off. Because as you say, sometimes you say you're invading my space, so she doesn't know what the right time would be. You see, so sometimes it is up to you to say, Mom, you know what, I want to sit down and talk. And even if like mom, that you tell your mom, even if I come to you and I'm upset, please still listen to me. Because sometimes I always tell, it's kind of like when I lost my niece, I told my sister-in-law, even if you want to phone and shout at me, you see, sometimes like I saying is the approach. Because you know, like, when things are going on, you young people, with me, it's because I can get through to you guys. It's not everybody, because I've only met you a few times and we talk and we have a conversation. And I know when it gets to a point, you guys can still talk to me. You, for instance, it's like you've known me from way back, but we've not really connected. Do you understand? But the moment we meet, it's not everybody that's got that gift. How do you feel? Because parents don't get how they can get through to their kids. Because I know sometimes as parents, we do make mistakes. You see, one thing that I always say is, don't misunderstand. We don't know what we're doing. Even though we pretend as if we do. Most of the time we don't. So how do you feel a parent can connect? Because when you talk about relationships, we are still struggling as grown-ups. Do you understand? We can only advise you through our experience. How do you feel your mom can get close to you?
Well, at first,
apart from the shopping and all that stuff.
Maybe speak, like, I feel like stuff like, cool, my mom divorced my dad. Stuff like that, her talking about it, like, actually, you know, like, recently I only just found out that they met when they were 15. Like, if she told me that earlier, I would have been like, oh, so you guys have been together for that long. Like, just her opening up about her own personal life, even though it may be a bit difficult for her to talk about it, it might make me feel okay. So, you know, maybe there's a couple stuff that we've actually been through together, you know, and all of that stuff, and then like actually opening up with me, because I don't think it's always about me, never about her. So like, okay, Mom, how are you doing? Like, you know, like, I think adults and parents forget that they have feelings and they can share them as well. They shouldn't keep it bottled up. So I feel like if my mum actually expresses how she feels about her day-to-day life and all of that stuff, then maybe, you know, conversation, because then I can advise her as well. Like, maybe there's something she doesn't know.
Before I go to Rachel, the reason why, I'm going to tell you the reason why we don't want to talk about us is because I'm going to use that word again, hypocrisy. Because we're trying to tell you at the age of 15, don't date anybody. So how do we come back to you and say, oh yeah, I met your dad when I was 15. So now if you're going out or we're telling you can't go out, how does that sound to you? No, seriously. No, how would that sound to you? Because now when you're going out and it's late and I'm telling you can't go out when I was your age, because that's what we will say.
We'll use it against them if they tell us.
Yes, so now you're going to turn around about, Mom, you went out. So now we avoid telling you what we did when we were younger. Do you understand me? Yeah. Yes, so it goes back
but
to
then
that.
I like making, not jokes, but like, you know, like laughing about it. Like, it's the past, it's the mistake that you've had. Like, let me learn from your mistake kind of thing. But don't do it in a way where you're shouting at me and saying, oh, this, that. Because if you shout at me, I'm just going to be like, okay, but...
You shut down.
Yeah, like, all right, I don't want to listen to what you have to say anymore because why are you shouting?
Rachel?
With my mum, it's not really what she says, it's how she communicates with me.
Okay.
Like you said, shouting. One thing with me, I shut down after I hear shouting. Or I shut down if I like hear something that I don't really like to hear. But...
What things don't you really like to hear?
Your mum questioning you.
Yeah.
Question?
Yeah, like when she questions
It's like interrogation, isn't it?
Yeah, like... Make it feel like I'm having a conversation with you. Don't interrogate me and make me feel some type of way when you shouldn't be doing that to me. I'm your daughter.
Do you know that we forget? You see, what you guys tend to forget is because we're parents, we think we are the authority. We've got authority over you. So it is not. But that's what I'm saying. That we talk at you. We don't talk with you.
Us,
with you.
Yeah.
You see, with me, when you talked about the divorce, you see, when you talked about it with me and the kids that, okay, when we broke up, yeah. The sad thing was with me, I communicated everything to my kids, which was the difference. You see, left some big bits out, but I still spoke to them.
Yeah.
When you're talking about your mom, for instance, that she says she's actually questioning you, it's not after the fact that she's questioning you, it's the fact that she doesn't know how to communicate with you.
Yeah, that's what I feel like her problem is with me. That's why we can't speak to each other, because then she'll say something that I don't like, and then I'll say something that she don't like, and it's like, oh, we've forgotten about the conversation and the topic now. It's just us two screaming at each other. So it's like, I feel like we need to learn how to speak to each other before we can speak to each other.
Communication. How do you think you guys can communicate? Because now, when you say that you don't want to interrogate, probably she doesn't know how. The reason why I say that is with me, it took me a while. Because I remember my son, Donald, said to me, Mom, if you shout at me, I'm not going to listen to you. So now, I had to sort of like, for him to listen to me, what did I have to do? I had to actually talk to him and not shout at him, you see. And I think whilst communicating with you guys, it gave me a sense that you guys knew more than I expected you guys to know. Yeah. Because we're not talking about relationships now. I'm kind of thinking, you guys are young. Now I keep forgetting that when I was your age, probably I was in one. So, no, I'm just saying that.
It's this generation, like, well, we seem older than we actually are.
We're growing up too fast. Way too fast.
So it's like our parents forget that we're not in the same generation. And they keep saying, oh, back in my days.
Which is a lie, trust me, it's a lie. So this is where I go back to when you said when your mom was 15. Because during our time, we were flipping doing the same thing.
Yeah, she told me she was sneaking out to see my dad.
There you go. So, but how is she now? No, you understand what I'm saying?
True. So it's like, you can't really say, oh, back in my day, but then you're doing the same thing back in your day. You don't want to tell us. But then if you do speak to us about it, maybe beforehand, in a closer age, like maybe 13, 14, it'll make us think, okay, I don't want to do that.
No, but when you say 13, 14, it's kind of scary because we are still looking at you as your babies. I'm sorry, but as a parent, we're looking at you as babies. So we're not saying 13, 14. That is a period that we want to talk about your period, but not about you going out with boys. But in a way, it's true because you can still get after your period, you can still get pregnant and have kids. So yeah. Go ahead.
They forget that. Even though we're still, maybe we don't understand that because we haven't had children yet. Maybe we don't understand that. But then I feel like they forget at a certain age, they're not going to have to let us go, but they're going to have to like branch out a bit because we're going to be experiencing stuff that we haven't experienced
When you
before.
say branch out in what way?
Like maybe, talking to us more, but like letting us experience life for ourselves. Maybe not at that 13 and 14, but maybe 16, we're going to start seeing things that maybe they don't want us to see, but it's life. They forget that it's just going to happen. But there's a way that they can help prevent us from going through certain things that they don't want us to go through. And through that, for doing that, you can talk to us, sitting us down, making us even read stuff or watch stuff that saying, look, this is an example of how I kind of like want you to live your life.
Because you go to school, and then like they teach you something and it's like, oh, I never knew. And then everyone else in the class is like, oh, how come you never knew? And it's like, oh, well, my mom's never spoke.
Like what?
Like, for example, even though I feel like we shouldn't be talking about it at that age, like, cool, at school when we're putting condoms on, stuff like that, even though I personally disagree with.
You're putting condoms on what? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
In secondary school, they made us put condoms on, like, a toy model of Yeah.
A man anatomy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for me.
What year was this?
This was like year
Year
10. But this is something I'm working to change on the curriculum in the future with my job. So don't worry.
Okay.
I feel like we shouldn't
keep
get
going. Yes.
But stuff like that, it's like cool. Like I'm
year 10. How old are you in year 10? Sorry, I'm just trying.
15.
Okay, 15. All right, keep going. No. Go.
Stuff like that. Even though our parents shouldn't be talking to us about that, but like you go to school
lives.
and you don't know any forms of like protection or stuff like, and it's
Like
like
contraceptive.
yeah,
yes.
you don't know any about that, and it's like okay, so everyone else in the class knew about it, and it's like, oh, Jessica, when they ask you a question, you're like, I don't know, my mum's never
But it's like
spoken
we
to
have
me.
2 lives. We get taught something different at home, then we get taught something different in school.
'Cause
So when
of
we come
culture.
home to speak to our parents, it's like, why do you know that? Or don't talk to me about that. But it's like
Really?
we're getting taught it in school, so how do you not expect to be curious about it? I want to speak to you about it, but then when you push me away, it's like, okay, I'm not going to speak to you.
So then, okay. It's quite disconcerting, but anyway, let's keep going. No. The reason why I say that is it's really fascinating that these are the things that as parents, that's what I'm saying, that your views, that's what I was telling you today, that your views, because you are able to reach your peers and parents that they don't know how to communicate with their kids. And do you feel that, and this is where I go back to the Christian aspect of it, that if you went to, because as you guys are Christian and you're spiritual and all those stuff, do you feel it would be much needed in a Christian community for all these things to be taught?
Yeah, and I feel like we get taught the complete wrong thing, like just
The opposite.
like everything is wrong, like everything to do with having a boyfriend, kissing, all of that stuff is just wrong. And it's like, okay, wow, so what am I actually meant to be doing? So does that mean if I talk to a boy or I start a relationship with a boy, I'm being a bad Christian? And it makes you question yourself, like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore because my mom's saying this, my teacher's saying this, and then church is saying this.
Something different.
And then you just get confused and then you just shut down. You're just like, I just don't want to do it anymore, and I just don't want to live, and like I don't want to like be a teenager anymore because everyone's telling me different things, and it's like, so what is a teenager
When you
actually
say you don't want to be a teenager anymore,
like, as in I'm not living the right way as a teenager kind of thing. So like at school they're living a teenager this way, they're partying. Church teenagers, they're reading their Bible, being at church every day, and then those who just don't have any religion at all, they're just breathing.
whatever they
Yeah,
want to do.
be honest.
Rachel?
Yeah, it's hard to juggle life between your social life and Christian life and then what people expect you to live. Is that especially for teenagers, you have this whole label on you of what you're supposed to do.
As a Christian?
As
Or
a Christian and as a teen.
youth? Okay.
And as a teen, it's like, for people who aren't religious, it's like, okay, I can do whatever I want though, but it's like, okay, but I'm a Christian and I can't really do whatever I want. There's certain things I need to follow and there's certain things I can't do. But it's hard because you have a social life, and in your friendship group, you probably have one person that's a Muslim, one person that's Christian, and one person that doesn't have anything at all. So it's like, it's kind of hard to live that life and balance it at the same time. So it's just difficult.
And with the Christian life as well, like for me, I went to a Catholic school.
Yes.
So it would be things like I felt like teachers pressured us as well, because then like I had a Ghanaian RE teacher, and she was used to say to me, oh, how can you not know this? You go to church, I'm sure, but it's like we're not learning about the same, we're learning about Catholic Christianity.
Yes.
In church, in Sunday school, we don't get taught about the sacraments. We're not getting taught about you need to marry, you need to do Holy Communion, all that stuff. Like, we don't get taught that in Sunday school. So, like, that pressure in school as well, it's like, I don't know which Christianity I'm like. At first, I can't lie, there was a battle between Catholic and Pentecostal church. Because then I was like, okay, so which one do I prefer? Because, you know, as a stereotype, you know, Catholics, peaceful, you know, all the hymns and stuff. Yeah, exactly. And then our church is like screaming, shouting, all of that stuff. And it's like, okay, which one do I really want to be with? Because I'm getting taught two different things. And it's like, is it this all one Christianity or not? And it makes you question, like, what is actually going on? And it's a bit confusing.
For me as well, growing up, I had so many questions, like, especially to do with the Bible and what God said and what everything. I had so many questions. I used to ask, okay, but did they really say that? Did this really happen? Or like, so, but all I got told was, you have to believe it. It's
Yeah.
there. It's the Bible. You have to believe it. But it's like, I didn't understand it. So how can I believe something I don't understand?
Yes.
I want you to explain it to me. But all I got is like, this is the word and you need to believe it. That's all I got told. That's all I got told. And it was like, but I don't understand it. How can you believe something you don't understand? But in church, that's what they do. They pressure you to believe something. And then when you don't, it's like, oh, you're being disrespectful. You're being disrespectful to the word. It's like,
So you're not actually taught, you're being talked to at church.
Yeah, it's the
So
same.
sometimes you find it, but doesn't that make you feel as if it makes you confused? Because if you're getting confusion from the home, you're getting confusion from the school and at the church. How? Because church is supposed, I think the Christian aspect was supposed to be the balance. So if you're not getting the balance, then at the end of the day,
it's like,
There's some days where even school and church felt the same. Like you're getting told off, and it's like, why am I getting told off at church? Isn't this where I'm meant to be like
Free.
not free, but like be myself and be the Christian person I'm being? Why does it feel like it's school? Like, someone's falling asleep. Okay, stand up. Everyone has to now. You have to stand up throughout the whole
in
service.
church,
Yeah. If you fall asleep, you have to stand up for the whole service.
who stands up for the whole service?
The person who's sleeping.
yeah.
How can I say? So, so that means you don't go to church to learn about your spirituality.
It's
Yeah,
more like
over
getting
time-
punished or like
Over
just.
time, it just felt like a routine. Like wake up in the morning for school. But it's like, okay, wake up in the morning for church, go to church, sit down, listen. If someone's getting told off, you just sit there and wait for them to finish getting told off. And you just wait that, okay, I hope it's not my turn to get told off because I'm sitting there. Or if you don't have a Bible, it's church, you should really bring a Bible.
Yes.
It's
But
mandatory.
these days we
But
got
it's
the
like-
phone and stuff. The Bible is.
But
on
it's
the
like,
phone.
if you don't, it's like, okay, why are you here?
Who's saying that?
It's like, you get questioned, like, if you don't have a Bible, okay, so why did you come church?
Can I not listen with my ears? Like
It's
it's
like-
like it's
Okay,
it's a
I forgot
routine.
it. So let's say I forgot it. It's like, okay, so why did you forget it?
It's like when you
Why
forget
do you
your
bring it?
homework. So what are you here for today? Then if you don't have your homework,
Literally.
are you here to learn or are you just here to sit here?
At one point, when I didn't know it for myself, it just felt like school. And then the point is, I just don't want to go.
Yeah, like why are you late today? I don't know. And then it's like a detention after because you get questioned.
You have a detention.
It's not a detention, but it
But
felt
it
like a
feels
detention.
like
Yeah,
it,
because
yeah.
Can you
after.
stay back after church because I need to talk to you?
Damn, right? No. Now, how do you reconcile your church? Because now, when you're saying this, it actually is quite disturbing because you're supposed to go to church. Because I remember the Sunday schools that I remember. So we had Bibles. They talked about Jesus. They did all the stuff that he did. Okay, I went to Catholic as well. I liked the 1 hour one. And when I started the charismatic one, it was more to do with building your spirituality. So if you're going to go to church and you're growing up and you are finding that it's more like school, isn't that going to deter you?
And it did. At one point,
Yeah,
we
it did.
stopped going, and then
Yeah.
it's like
How long
everyone's
did you
question-
stop going for?
Couple months.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple months. Like, cause like my mum, for example, she was in protocol. There would be sometimes they would question me. Oh, where's Jessica? Where's Jessica? We haven't seen Jessica in a long time. But for someone like Rachel, where she's just joined the church recently, it's like they wouldn't ask her, but because they always know she's with me as well, they'll be like, oh, where's Jessica and her friend?
Yeah.
And it's like we don't want to go and say, oh, we don't really like going to church because then that will start up something as well. They'll be like, oh, so
Start something.
why don't you like going to church? What's going on? Then it's like we won't be able to speak our mind because if we speak our mind, straight
We're in
disrespectful.
trouble or we're
Really?
disrespectful
Yeah, we're
them.
just disrespectful.
Oh, no wonder I got suspended from church. No, because you know something. No, you know something. I'm saying that. I know you guys said you've never heard it before, but anyway, you're going to hear it. The thing about life is sometimes I think the pastors forget that we have the right to question. Because I remember during the time when Jesus was going out with his disciples, things that they didn't understand, they still questioned it. I find it that these men of God put themselves up as though they are God. They understand me. Or these people representing God. And they tend to forget that the only way you can understand the Bible is if it's explained to you.
Yeah.
And you questioning it from my perspective doesn't mean you're disrespectful. It just means that you want better clarification.
And that's the same with our relationship with our parents as well. When we ask for questions, it's like, why are you questioning me? Are you challenging me? Are you disrespecting me?
It's a
Kind of thing.
challenging
Do you
part.
feel that it's not how you go to them? Because I remember Donald used to say to me, Mom, it is your delivery. So do you
Not what
feel
you
that?
say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yes, how you
A lot
say
of- that's what I say to my mum all the time. It's like not what you say more time, it's how you say it. If you come on a like disturbing tone or like an anger, like coming to me like
very
angry.
sort of like very not aggressive but a bit assertive, you find it as an attack.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I don't want to speak to you then. If you're gonna come to me like you're coming to attack me or whatever, it's like I don't want to speak to you.
But she sees you as her daughter, so she feels that you're supposed to be subservient. I think the problem as parents we have is we forget to treat you like adults, because now treating you like an adult doesn't mean that you've taken our power. It means that we're giving you a little bit of latitude. Do you feel that the parents are scared of losing their power, that they turn around and talk at you and shout at you, and they don't realize that doing that actually takes you back and then you just shut down?
Yeah, at a certain age you gotta realize that, okay, we're getting older now, and there's certain things like shouting at us, it's like, why are you shouting at me?
These days when my mum shouts, I'm
it's
laughing.
like,
I'm gonna laugh at her because why are you shouting? There's no need to shout.
I'm not
like,
and she's upset. And
and I'm like,
It's
why
like-
are you shouting? There's no need. Like,
I'm pretty
stop.
sure if you spoke to me properly, I would listen to you more time. But if you're shouting at me, it's like, okay, bye.
It's just by, it's like the shutters just go down.
Yeah, just like I'm not listening. If you're shouting, just forget it.
Literally.
Like when you've calmed down and you've cooled down, we can
One
talk
time
again.
it's me having to tell you to calm down. You should be telling me to calm down, like stop getting angry. But why am I having to tell you to calm down?
So it's kind of like you feel that the roles are reversed,
Yeah.
whereby the mother becomes a child and then you are more the adult.
Because that's how sometimes they behave, unfortunately.
So that's how
Because sometimes they do throw tantrums for no reason. Because why are you throwing a tantrum?
Do you know that sometimes outside pressures, you know, sometimes you can get upset with somebody and it has nothing to do with you, but it's a knock-on effect from certain pressures.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes they take their anger out on us.
Yes.
So the problem that they're going through, maybe, I don't know, whatever they're going through, bills or relationship they have, you're now coming to take it out on me, but I haven't done anything to you. All I've done is ask you a question.
Yes.
A question that you don't really like. But now because you're angry at something else, you're coming to put your anger on me. It's not me. It's not me.
You see, one thing that I think what you guys are saying that is really brilliant that you're saying it is, I would say that I was like you guys. When my dad spoke to me and he shouted at me, I'm like, I'm not hearing you. And I remember sometimes he's talking and I bet you, even my mom, I bet you that if she asked me to repeat what she said, I wouldn't have been able to, because I'm not listening to you.
At all.
Because sometimes they'll do, oh, I'm talking to you and you're not looking at me. And then I'm like, okay, and then I'm looking at her and she goes, sorry, I'm talking to you, look at the way you're looking at me. And I'm
And it's like, you just told me to look at you.
I know,
What are you doing?
So sometimes it was a bit like trying to get the balance. I think because of what I went through, it made it easier for me to actually deal with mine. So it's kind of like when they're talking to me, it's like, okay, it took me a while, you see. And now I get why sometimes you guys are frustrated, because you feel that the roles are reversed. Instead of the parent to sort of like come to you. And I think the parent, that's like it's saying, I think it's a control thing. A parent believes that her being in control is like her telling you or being able to talk. They don't realize that them actually lowering the way they approach you gives you a receptive way of, oh wow, my daughter, okay. It gives you like a path whereby you guys can actually communicate. Do you feel that our culture as a black community is part of it? Because I've realized that as parents, sometimes when you guys are growing up, I don't know whether the path is we feeling that we are losing you. So we're trying to hold on to you guys.
And baby us.
And baby you guys. And that's what you lot don't want, innit?
No, I hate being babied.
No, I hate being belittled.
Oh yeah, belittled is a
Don't
problem. Because it's like, why are you making me feel like that? Because
But as a
Give me
parent,
examples.
you shouldn't be talking to me a certain way. Let's say I'm at a certain age right now,
Yes.
and it's like you're still talking to me as if like I'm dumb or like I'm a small age, like I'm 12, I'm 10. It's like, speak to me. If you want me to act like an adult with you, speak to me like an adult. If you want me to act like a child and have a tantrum with you, and you speak to me that way, I'm gonna do that. And you're not gonna like it though. So speak to me how you. It's like treat me like how you want me to be treated.
Yes.
It's kind of like that. But in a parent's view, it's
Yes.
like, don't do certain stuff that you don't want me doing. So like shouting, don't shout at me if you don't want me to shout at you.
And it's the same with
Simple.
like at school. I had this problem as well with teachers.
Yes.
I felt like teachers, they just didn't want to hear what you had to say. Like they just it's like, oh, I'm getting paid to teach you, so you have to keep quiet and listen to me. And it's like, no, because I'm here for an education.
Yes.
So if I have a question, or if I want to tell you, okay, I can't lie, you've put the wrong number on the board,
Yes.
you're gonna take it as a challenge. Like, no, it's me who's the teacher here. Okay, I'm just telling you,
It's
like,
you're not losing control. It's just that I want to do certain stuff and I want to tell you certain stuff. You're not letting me go. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here.
Yes.
There's certain stuff that I want to know now, which you can help me, but don't challenge. If you're challenging me, then what's you gonna get out of that? Just help me, support me. Like, you're not letting me go by supporting me. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Okay, because before we go any further, I would like to thank some of our viewers. I would like to thank my sister, Spenny Love. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Mrs. Gia. Thank you, Stephen Tufo. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prophet Fitzgerald Johnson, for watching the show. Please, guys, please share and like this show, because this is our future leaders. They are talking to us. As parents, sometimes we don't know the way, we don't know how to approach our kids, and it will be fantastic that we hear them. This platform, as I've initially told you, is for us to listen, because we are too fond of talking at our children. Making sure that they're not listening to gives them a chance to feel that if you don't want to listen to me, I ain't going to listen to you. Now I'm going to come back to you, Jessica, on the same thing. When your parents are treating you or belittling you, how does that make you feel?
I feel like you're not letting me grow up. So eventually I'm just going to be not spoiled, but like
Disobedient.
Yeah, I'm just going to go against you. It's like, how can I explain it?
But I don't want to go against you, but you're making me feel like I have to.
Yeah, like you're just going to make me not want to listen to you no more, because now you've treated me in a way, and it's like, okay, if you want to treat me that way, then I'm not going to make your life hell, but I'm not going to listen to you, and I'm going to go against you. And it's like, I'm just going against you altogether.
Yes. Sometimes when we are... Okay. One of the stuff that I want you guys to do is when your parents come at you in that manner, what is your approach on that level? How do you deal with that?
I used to like shout back.
Never agreed with it, but
okay. But I used to shout back. I used to argue back. I used to even some extreme. I used to like walk out sometimes when me and mum would argue. But now, which I've gotten better at, I normally say like, when you can speak to me, then let's just sit down and speak properly. Or like she'll say, can you come to my room please so we can speak. It's gotten better at that. Like we've gotten better at saying, okay, let's speak in 30 minutes when you've calmed down.
That's what you tell your mum?
And then she'll say to me,
she'll say that to you.
We'll both say to each other, look, we're not in the good headspace. So when we are calmed down, maybe the next day, let's speak. Sometimes, it may be weird, but like sometimes, if we can't speak face to face, we're in a new generation, we can text each other. Just as sometimes if you can't speak face to face, she'll text me, be like, are you okay? I'll be like, yeah, I'm fine, you? And I'll be okay sometimes.
Okay.
Go on. My mom does the whole, let's call your grandma, let's call your auntie, let's call your dad, and maybe they can get through to you. And it's like, for me, it doesn't work because, no offense, my dad doesn't live with me. He's not raising me. So him speaking to me isn't going to help because he doesn't know what I'm going through. So, but with someone with my mom, she knows like the exams I've got going on. So it's more likely that I want to speak to her. So dragging everyone in and letting the whole world know that Jessica's misbehaving doesn't help with me, because I'm just going to ignore everyone, because why do they need to get involved? It's not necessary.
No, but that's their culture.
Yeah, that's how they like to do it. So but then I feel like in a way it puts my mom in a position, because then it's like you feel like you can't control me, so
and then you feel exposed because you feel that this is supposed to be between you and
and it's like
and you've got the whole world in it,
and it's like why? And it's like I feel like then I've got other people in my business and they don't need to be even though they're my family, it's like they don't need to know every single little thing that I do, because then at the end of the day, when I see them, oh, so did you and your mum sort out this problem? And it's like, you don't need to know if we sort it out.
You want your privacy.
Yeah,
basically.
it's between me and my mum. It shouldn't be between anyone else.
Okay, before I go further and ask any more questions, I want to thank these brilliant viewers. I want to thank Caroline Jackson for watching, Jones Awa, Mercy Poco for watching. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you, Antoinette. Thank you, Frims Berima. Thank you, Daniel Kofi. You know what? Thank you so much for your support. It's so brilliant that I'm getting you guys actually giving up your time to actually watch this program, because this is a weekend, this is Friday, and I know, even though it's COVID, I know people still go out and come out, but thank you so much, and thank you for supporting me. And young ladies, I'm still coming back to you. So now, when we are going on the Christian aspect of it, you know, when you go to church and probably your mom has told like your pastor and all those stuff, how does that sort of like, because you're kind of thinking, because even though it's like family member, okay, as much as you don't like it, you're still trying to do it. So when you go to church and probably your youth leader or whatever, I don't know how they call them in church. That shows what I know. But how do you approach that? Do you go to church and feel very, very disconnected? Like,
yeah, because it's like, now I know, like, there's one thing me, Rachel and Bella have always said, like, sometimes it feels like the youth leader has been told a certain situation that we have participated in, and then they're targeting us. So that message for that day is for us, because they know you've been misbehaving, kind of thing.
Do you think that you're not being a little bit paranoid? But let me
sometimes I feel like it's paranoid, sometimes I feel like they actually know.
Because even after the service, they'll be like, Rachel, Jessica and Bella, can I speak to you after the service? It's like,
and they'll ask us questions, so like they'll ask us stuff that we know, but they just want us to tell the truth by like, one time,
tell the truth.
Yeah, one time we got asked, oh, so what's a love bite? And I was like, huh?
What's a what?
A love bite. And we're like, okay, why are we getting asked what's a love bite? Like, where's this going? Like, we're just bare confused. And I think they must have heard something to do with relationships or something, but I don't think it was to do with us. But it's just like certain stuff like that, it will get us paranoid, but then it's like, why are you getting us paranoid? Because what have you been told? Yes. And it's like,
I feel like as well, because when we were in youth,
yes,
us three were the main people that would like not change in church. So we were still act the same way we were outside church and still act the same in church. So it's like, I don't feel like they'll feel a type of way because we're acting ourselves. So they'd always question us, oh, what are you doing? Or if the service is about something, they'll be like, oh, can I ask you three a question? Can you stand up and answer these questions? And it's like, because we're acting ourselves now and we're not being, I wouldn't say fake.
Yes.
That's kind of extent.
No, you're being authentic.
yeah.
You're being you.
We're being us. So it's like they had a problem with us being us. They want us to act a certain way. But it's like, we weren't going to do that. Not to fit your picture.
It's kind of like they've put you in a criteria whereby they want you to. Do you feel doing that actually doesn't build your spirituality? Because when, because I know that the reason why with me, I don't go to, this is my personal, so I don't go to churches. There are lots of things that I find very hypocritical. I know I can hear some Christians at the background screaming, oh my God, she's, I don't know what the hell they'll be thinking, but that's their stuff. But I feel that when you go to church, sometimes the message is hypocritical. The way they want you to act is not authentic. The way that they want you to be, you're not being yourself. It's like you're trying to fit something that has been put out. Do you understand me? Because as you guys are saying it, if I was in your position, probably I wouldn't be going to the youth either. You see, because I would feel as though I'm being judged.
But that's how it is though. When we walk into service, literally as soon as we walk
You
in,
can
we
feel the
eyes.
judgment. You can
We
actually,
feel
like, they
the
don't have to
eyes.
say anything. You can just
Who judges you?
like everyone. Sometimes it's even the youth itself. Like, I feel like I wouldn't say they've been brainwashed kind of thing, but sometimes some of them is like, oh yeah, they're doing the wrong thing because that's what has been said. Like, you're not meant to party. So, but they've just come from a party last night.
Oh, so the ones that are judging you are even worse than
themselves.
Yeah, they're
So
doing
why
it
are they
themselves
judging you then?
because they're acting a different way
in
because
church.
they're in church. So if they were outside, they wouldn't judge us. But because they're inside church and they want to impress, I feel like church is a lot about impressing as well.
People pleasers.
Yeah,
People
they like to
pleasers.
like, oh yeah, you need to be part of a ministry. Yeah, everyone's applying for protocol. They're all applying for all the stuff, and it's like you don't. I'm not saying you don't have to, but don't do it if you don't want to. I feel like a lot of them,
They're doing it to please. So
Yeah.
it's kinda like they are more. They're not doing it out of the sense of spirituality.
Yeah.
But just to fit a quota.
yeah,
of
they're not
them.
doing it to serve God. They're actually
Yeah.
doing it because, oh yeah, if I
They've
do
been
this,
told
then
to.
yeah.
Don't you? I don't know. It's just that when I brought this topic up today, I thought it was going to. I didn't realize that it was that deep. I felt it was going to be a bit like the way I felt, because there was periods of time whereby being in church, sometimes I'm looking at certain stuff and then I'm feeling that I don't really want to be here. It's kind of like when they're forcing you to say thongs and they're saying,
that one.
the tithe and all those stuff. I just felt that let me get there. It felt like I was being rushed.
Yes, offering as well. Oh, we know you're gonna go after church to go buy chicken and chips. And it's like
It's a small shade.
it's
also.
like all them little.
So they're trying to throw shade.
yeah,
at
and
you,
it's like all
basically.
them little things are making me not want to come, because yes, we do go buy chicken and chip after church, but
Yes.
if we don't give,
It has to be voluntary.
yeah, like I want to give because I know God's gonna do something for me. At this rate, you're not making me believe that. So it's like I'm sowing a seed, and it's like I'm just sowing it because you're telling me.
Can I correct you on that? And I know I can hear some pastors shouting already. You don't give to God for God
To give back.
to give back.
But that's
But
what they
you
make
give,
it seem.
but that's not how it is. You give because you want to give to God. Whatever God will do for you is not predicated on what you give out. Please,
But that's
God.
something that we should have been told.
Mm.
What
We
we're
haven't been
saying
taught
now
this.
is everything that we know, because
Yes.
that's what we've been shown.
Yes.
So you saying this now, we haven't been told that. Which obviously we're at an age where we should be knowing stuff for ourselves. But in that time, we're just going off based on what we've been told. So it's kind of hard to go off based on that.
Because when you say that, I know I've been to loads of churches whereby they say they pass the tree around, and then the pastors themselves, some of them don't put money in it. Don't they still get blessed the same way? So my thing is, you see, we cannot be teaching the wrong thing. Christianity has to be spiritually based. Do you understand me? We are human. We are going to make mistakes. And as a young person, okay, we are teaching you, probably the church is teaching you how to minimize it. But they cannot chastise you for being human. You see, so if you have to go to church and you're sleeping and you're standing up for the whole service, well, I sleep a lot, and sometimes, even I remember when I used to go to all nights and I slept, and then don't know wake me up and say, "Man, why are you sleeping?" I said, "I'm in intense prayer." But I was the. But the point that I'm making is, if I felt the pressures that you guys felt, if you had to go to church, I would actually feel the same way. You see, and Christianity has to be inbuilt. And when I say inbuilt, you have to wake up and enjoy it. It's like a job. Christianity, you have to enjoy praying to God. You have to enjoy reading the Bible. It has to come naturally. It doesn't have to feel as if you're being pressured to do it. And serving God, as I always say to people, that when my life ends, I have to go and atone to God that this is how, whatever life He gave me, this is how I use it. I don't feel that it's up to a person. He can direct me, but my spirituality has to be based on me, because I would have to atone to God, not man. Is it? Do you guys feel that when you're in church, you get that sense of you do things and it's not predicated on you being judged? No? No. I'm just saying that when you got, no, but at the end of the day, it's how you feel. It's got nothing to do, because sometimes they might not know that what they do to you actually deters you from coming to church.
I feel like in church as well, there's a lot of favourite people, especially in youth.
Okay.
They compare us to other people and it's like, why can't you be like her?
And that's
She's
everywhere,
doing-
really.
Literally, like, why can't you do what she's doing or say what she's doing? It's like, why are you comparing me? It's like I get compared at home to other people as well. So it's like, I don't need this in church. Not even just that. It's like we're all on a different spiritual level,
Yes.
but they expect us to be on the same level as everybody else.
It doesn't
But
work
not
that way.
everybody learns the same way or at the same time. So it's like, I might take longer to understand the Bible than you, but then it expects us to be like, okay, so why don't you understand it? This person understands it, but it doesn't work like that. Like, our spiritual level doesn't work like that. We're all different, so it's like, it's kind of hard.
I thought I agree with her, because there was some days where it's like we'd message each other on a Saturday, "Are you guys going to church?"
Yes.
And it's like you said, social aspect.
Yes.
If Rachel one day didn't want to go and Bella didn't want to go,
Yeah,
I'm not going, because it's like there was times I went by myself, and it's like them days where they were targeting messages at me, I didn't have my two friends at my side.
Yes.
So I couldn't stand tall and just, say, okay, do you know what, I'm just going to firm. Some days I would crumble to my mum. I would go to my mum and be like, "Mum, I don't want to go to youth no more because this, that is happening." She'll be like, "What do you mean?" And there's even some days where I had to get even witnesses because my mum wouldn't believe what was going on.
Witnesses.
Well, not witnesses. Yeah,
No, but I understand what you mean, that you get people that would actually say that this is what actually happened to you because your word wasn't even good enough.
Because they wouldn't believe us. Like, they'll think, "Is this what's actually happening?" I'll be like, "Yeah."
Things like what?
Well, there was an occasion where I kind of we were discussing in groups about a certain scripture, I think, and then we had to, each person from one group had to go to the front and to, share what they shared in their group. Okay. And I got told, "Stop talking because what you're talking about is nonsense," in front of everyone. And I think I can say that was the day I said I didn't want to go to church anymore. Okay. And right now, I work as a job, and it's on Sundays.
Yes.
So they asked me, "Why do you work on Sundays?" I'd be like, "You guys have literally pushed me out of the church." Like, that day, I wanted to cry, but I was like...
What was it about?
Like, the actual scripture and stuff. I can't actually remember, but I remember we discussed in the group. And I remember that day, Rachel took her phone, wrote on notes a message to me, and was like, "This is why I don't come to church anymore."
Wow.
And I think someone saw it. Yeah, someone saw it, and they saw her pass the phone to me, and I was just like, I just passed the phone back to her now. Because what I said, I'm pretty sure was similar to what someone said to me.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about something and we had to get in groups. And I can't remember if I don't think I was in your group.
Yeah, you weren't in my group.
Yeah, we weren't in the same groups, but I remember you had to talk about scripture, and she was giving her own understanding of it. So you can't attack someone for their own understanding. But I remember them saying to her, "Just stop talking because whatever you're saying is nonsense." And I remember typing on my phone saying, "Yeah, to get me in church."
Because my thing is, like, if you're going to ask me what's my opinion or what you understand from it, you as a leader are meant to say, "Okay, that is unfortunately the wrong interpretation, and this is what the correct one is."
I don't actually feel the leader should say it. I think the leader should later on call you to the side, not say attack it that way. Call you to the side or say that, "Oh, Jessica, I think you misunderstood how it is. Let me get somebody that might probably be able to actually narrate it to you in a different way," but not to tell you to stop talking
in front of everyone. It was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. It was really sad.
Is it one thing that people tend to forget when it comes to the scripture is you can read the Bible and understand something differently from how I would understand it. It doesn't mean your understanding is not right. It means that we understand it differently. So if my interpretation, let me see. I was trying to see whether I could get a scripture in my head. Okay, nothing's coming now. But no, seriously, that when you look at the Bible, it's kind of like they say something will happen on the side of the road, yeah? And then 10 people can be there, and everybody would interpret it differently. That doesn't mean that everybody is stupid. It's just that everybody's sense of understanding something is different. Because even these pastors that sometimes they talk about stuff, most of sometimes what they say is not right. It's not that way that it is. Do you understand me? But because they force you to understand it their way, because you can read it, and probably because they said spirituality is enlightenment from God. It's not from man. So you might have gone to the pastor's school. Probably God wants you to understand something a different way. That doesn't mean that the pastor's way to him might be the right way. But your way does not necessarily mean that. That's what they say, there's no stupid questions. I don't think when a pastor comes out there and he says something that is wrong, God comes and then says, "Oh, what you're saying is rubbish." Yeah. So, you see, and I feel, as you say, these are some of the stuff that I think the churches should learn from it. Because they're telling you to do something. And at one end, they're actually bringing your confidence down. Instead of them to empower you, instead of them to actually let you grow spiritually, they're actually attacking you. And one thing what people don't seem to understand is when somebody goes off church, it's very, very difficult for you to get back You see, and I know sometimes when I'm talking to people and they're going, oh, you know, God will touch your heart. I'm praying for God to touch your heart. I said, please don't start doing that. Because, no, seriously, because I understand where you guys, it might be different experiences.
No, yeah, I don't understand you because personally, I haven't been church in a very, very long time. So I've kind of like lost my way. And me personally, I find it hard to like read the Bible. Okay. So it's like, me going to church would have helped me, but because I've kind of like stirred away from it because of what's happened in church. Don't get me wrong, church, when I used to go to church, I used to love going to church, especially when I transferred to King's Temple. I used to love it, like even praise and worship, I used to love it.
That's the favourite I can say, yeah. The
I
praise
used to
and
love
worship.
it, but then we started to grow up and like, it's like we felt like being targeted. It's like, I don't want to feel like that, so I'm not going to come. So it's like, I do get it, so when you come off of church or like kind of divert from it, it's really hard to get back on. Like, I'm a living example. I find it so hard to like read my Bible every day, but it's hard. It's not easy.
I feel like it's a thing where you just get like, it's anywhere you go, you get bad experiences, and then you just don't really want to go there because you don't want to experience that bad thing again. And for me, I feel like, obviously, when I started the job, I just started working on Sundays, and you know, sometimes it was more out of sympathy for my mum. She'll be like, oh, you know, pastor's wife was asking for you. You haven't been to church in a long time, so I would go because they were asking of me, not because I wanted to go. So it was just like, oh yeah, you guys can see my face.
Church did not build your spirituality.
I can say, well, there was good times like youth camp, stuff like youth camp. I felt like it really, but then after a while, every year we went, you know, after 2 weeks of going, the consistency wasn't there anymore. But stuff like that,
like the passion.
Yeah, the passion wasn't there anymore. Like it would be good for a good 3 weeks, and then after that we'd kind of fall off. But even in youth camp, stuff like that, where we're trying to build our spirituality, they were still like attacking us. Like me, Bella and Rachel wanted to be together. We wanted to learn together. It's not that we were messing around. We literally just wanted to be together. They wouldn't let us. They split us up. And it's like, why can't we learn with our friends? Because that's how we feel comfortable learning. But they just didn't want us to be together. And it's like, stuff like that kind of like
deterred you.
Yeah, and it's like,
it made you lost the passion.
Yeah,
for
and it's
going
like,
to church. You felt picked on. Okay, we've only got a few minutes to go. I want to thank you guys for coming. I want to thank my producer, Joe. I think next time what we'll do is we'll talk to my producer and see whether we can get some callers. We'll try and arrange my producer can allow that so that people can talk to, you know, you guys, you know, because sometimes people don't know what you guys are going through. It's more to do with us thinking that we know best for you. Sometimes we do know best. It's just that we don't know it all. Okay, I want to thank my viewers and for actually giving us the time to watch it. I want to thank my producer. I want to thank Sister Dansoa, who is the second producer. I thank her so much for actually giving us a platform. I say that Omega Live TV is one of the platforms that gives you guys, the youth, to actually have your say. And that's the reason why I continue to say I appreciate the producer, because with everything that we do, he gives us the time. He gives you guys the voice. You guys are the next generation. You guys can talk to your peers for them to understand. Happy New Year, everyone. And thank you so much for giving us the time of them for us to come into your sitting room. Thank you. And we hope to see you in the next 2 weeks. And I pray that we are here so that we have other topics that would enlighten you guys. Thank you and have a lovely evening.
At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them. At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there